All right. Recently, the State Department warned U.S. diplomats of attempts to impersonate Secretary of State Marco Rubio and possibly other high-end Trump officials using AI, artificial intelligence, of course. The warning came after the department discovered that an imposter posing as Rubio had attempted to reach out to at least 3 foreign ministers, as well as a U.S. senator and a state governor, using text, signal, and voicemail. President Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, recently had a similar incident happen to her. Happened May of this year. The misuse of AI to deceive people is likely to grow as the technology improves and becomes more widely available. That's why it's so vital that we ensure AI is used in a safe and pro-business way. Here with me now is the CEO of the Alliance for Secure AI, Brendan Steinhauser. Brendan, thank you for being here. How good is it? Honestly, if somebody took a copy of my voice, took a recording of your voice, would people be able to know if I left a voicemail or did something of that nature? Or is it that good that they can't tell anymore?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the answer is it's good enough to do the trick. It's certainly been working to defraud people, to convince people that they're talking to the person that it's purported to be. So it's not perfect. It's not flawless. But the scary thing is this stuff is getting better, and it's getting better rapidly. And so we would expect, in even just the next few months, more and more criminals to be using this to defraud people, to steal money out of their bank accounts, to scam people, especially elderly folks, and of course for foreign adversaries like China and others to be using this to wage all sorts of disinformation campaigns to create confusion among our elected officials. So it's good enough, and it's getting a lot better, and I really believe this is just the tip of the iceberg.
So let me ask you this, Brendan, because as you're talking there, I'm thinking, well, okay, so I can do a recording or somebody could create a recording of me, and look, my voice is out there all over the place, like a lot of public figures. And so someone could take copies of my voice and duplicate it and put it into AI. But can you really do it in real time? Can you have a conversation with somebody on a phone at this point? Is it that good?
I don't think it's quite at that level just yet. I think that we will get there when we see these companies develop what's called artificial general intelligence, AGI. Sometime in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see a much more profound and powerful technology that will be able to communicate that fast, because the computing power is that powerful and that fast. And so it'll be able to respond with a cloned voice in real time. And I think it'll be, again, good enough to do the trick, good enough to convince many people that they're talking to the person that they think they're talking to.
So let me ask you this. How should this be handled from a government perspective? Generally, the government is way too slow to respond to emerging technologies when they can be used in a threatening fashion here. Look, you can exploit people, you can exploit old people, you can make threats to people, you do all sorts of things here. You can impersonate a political candidate and make them appear to be saying things that they never said and completely change the direction and the outcome of an election. There's all sorts of nefarious things that can be done here. What should be done to somebody who uses AI to create a voice or a deep fake video or anything of that nature to damage somebody else? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that I like the idea that Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri is talking about, where people should have a right to their own digital footprint, if you will, a right to their likeness, their voice, their image, and the ability not only to sue in civil court, but perhaps to be some criminal liability as well. But I think we have to take it a step further and look at holding big tech accountable when it comes to them creating an environment where this is easy for people to do it. They basically want no accountability, no transparency on what they're building. I don't think that's the right approach. And then I would say, you're right. These scams and the financial fraud that we're dealing with is horrible enough. But what really concerns me are the national security implications of this. So going after our national security advisor and Secretary of State, like Marco Rubio, certainly going after the White House chief of staff and others to try and get information. This has become an intelligence problem. This has become a national security problem. And so I think that the Congress has to look at this right now, move very quickly to deal with this, because this technology is rapidly advancing. And by the time they figure out what to do, this technology is going to be moving on to the next thing. So we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. I think, Brendan, what you're saying is that Steve Gruber should be copyrighted and Brendan should be copyrighted. We should have a right to ourselves and to protect ourselves. And if you violate that basic copyright of my human image, voice, presence, whatever you would like to describe, then you're in violation of something similar to a copyright violation, which can be very serious. Brendan, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we can look at it as intellectual property, similar to that, but we have to have these protections. And I think AI can be a tool that we can use for good in the world. I think it's going to do a lot of good, but we are really concerned about the downsides and the risks. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg with it developing so rapidly. So I think we have to, Congress also needs to make sure that not only do they pursue good policy, but they allow states to do that. So this idea of trying to prevent states from regulating AI, I think is probably a bad idea. We're going to need states to step in here as well.
Brendan, I appreciate you being here. It's an important topic. I'm sure I'll have you back on it because you're very well versed, and I appreciate you spending some time with us here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Of course, there is